All right, hello, welcome. This will be a Drummond video for Gunner at Drummond. So let's get rocking here. I want to continue to work on Wood, our Alice in Chains song. So thus far we have talked about our intro and we've talked about our verse. So we'll go over that stuff again real quick. Remember, on our intro, we've got that. Right, so we've got flams on our snare. We've talked about that. We want to get that snare nice and strong. So not too much of separation in that flam. We don't want it like that. We don't want it too much like that. But you can get it real nice and tight, especially for a part like this. Like a real nice, real close to together. Right, so that's going to be a nice tight flam on the 2s and 4s there. Just holding our snare down. And then we've got... So that's adding our kick drum to it. And then we have that little pickup fill on our floor tom. So I like to play it where you're kind of playing the floor tom with the bass drum. I'd say nail that bass drum part first, then start to add some of that floor tom to it. So what ultimately you want is it kind of like... Right? And you can hear how I'm kind of doing, or you can see how I'm kind of doing the flams on the floor tom as well. So we want good power in both of those. So that little pickup, what you can add, and what he does most of the time through that little intro section is ba-da-bum, right before we get to the next measure. So it's kind of a nice little pickup. So boom, 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 ba-ba-boom, boom, ba-boom. Right? So that's our intro. Listen to it. You'll hear pretty much exactly what I'm talking about. He does a lot of tom movement. So if you want to start mixing around, you can... You can use some of that, your higher rack toms. I know you got the electric kit, so you've got 2 there. So you can start messing with utilizing, having 3 different toms on the kit. I only have 2 here. But I think most of the electric kits will have 3 toms, so floor tom, then 2 rack toms. So you can start to mess around with trying to get a little bit of some fills in there. Practice with the song though, and listen to what he's doing. So try and get your fills as close to what he's doing, because he's a great drummer, and we're gonna learn a lot from what he's doing. So let's get into the verse. We talked about this a little bit last time. I'm kind of breezing through this stuff. If any of it if you don't recall any of it, you can always check out the last video, and then you can of course always kind of listen to the song and see what I'm talking about. But so let's simplify our kick drum here a little bit. So we're not doing that little 16th pulse. We're just gonna do boom, boom, boom. So instead of boom, ba, boom, cha, we're gonna do boom, boom, cha, right on that little second half. So it's gonna be... So we want to get that 16th hi-hat feel working pretty comfortably with that kick drum, where we've got boom, ta, boom, boom, right? So he does some weird gaps in the way he plays it, and it's going to sound a little bit more like this, where it's... where he kind of is breaking up. It doesn't sound like consistent, it's not as consistent. The reason I'd say start by doing 16th notes, and why I think we should learn it this way, is because once you have that 16th note groove, those gaps are going to be a lot easier to fill, or kind of displace. So when he's doing... that, that the basis of that is a 16th note groove where we've got where we're hitting every single 16th note on the hi-hat. What he's doing is kind of picking some spots to rest there and working pretty closely with how his kick drum is working. So you'll hear how that works with that kick drum beat. And he's also accenting the hi-hat in certain ways. So I'd say we'll get to that point. We'll get to the point where it does sound almost exactly like what he's doing. But to start this out, let's keep that 16th note thing going. And then that'll help us down the road be able to kind of pick from that beat that, hey, we already know if we can play all the 16th notes, then we can start to pick our gaps, and it'll be a lot easier to kind of cut some spots. So we can do. So you can kind of pick some spots there. You got both your hands working functionally on the hi-hat and the snare, keeping the snare on 2 and 4 there. So that is our verse. Continue to work on that stuff a lot. That's going to take some time to kind of like fall into piece together. So let's get into our chorus though. So this is a really cool drum song. There's a lot of stuff going on. So on the chorus, he gets into the ride. So and he's kind of doing some bell stuff. And you'll hear that. It's kind of like a real pingy ride. So he kind of fills in with some tom stuff there. So I'd say first things first, try and make sure we're getting that transition over to the ride. So we got to move over from our hi-hat thing, right? So we're going to be. So we're going to move over to the ride there. First things first, we're keeping the kick pretty steady. Kick does not change a lot. This is going to be the chorus, so the kick, it stays pretty much on that. Right, so add your ride into that. Do it a little bit slower too, so we could do it like 1, 2, ready, go. So I started to add into that groove, that little tom thing that he does. I think it sounds pretty cool. I'd like to try and incorporate it into our cover of this. So he's kind of adding in just with his right hand. This is a really cool trick. I'd say if you need to, use both hands and do just like a single stroke roll there, alternate. But what I like to do is I just use my left hand. And if you can get your left hand kind of strong enough so that it can operate on its own, that'll be really helpful in the future. Just kind of getting that dexterity type stuff down. But so that's going to work like this. So we still have our kick pattern going. So I'm just going to do it without the ride so we don't get too muddied up here. We're going to do boom. And if that's getting muddied up with the kick drum, and if you find yourself, if your hands are getting caught up, try it just with your hands. So do. that's going to be our beat. That'll be the goal, I think. That's kind of our end game, what we want to get it to. So it's like... Right, so that's going to be our end game. That's when you listen to the song, it'll sound pretty similar to that. I'd say, as you're practicing, though, this week, stay focused on that intro. That's going to be really a driving force for how we settle into this groove and how the rest of the song ultimately plays out. If we can get that intro groove, I think the chorus groove will be a piece of cake because there's just like the same amount of syncopation going on, or a really similar type of syncopation happening in how we're kind of having to maneuver our hands and our feet. So it's pretty similar to the chorus. So stay focused on that. Once that's locked in, move on to our 16th fill, or our 16th groove, where we're doing something like that on our verse. That's going to go into our verse. And then just start listening to the chorus. Listen to the chorus. Play along with it as much as you can. Again, as you're playing along with it, and if you find yourself like, I can't keep up with that tempo, not a big deal at all. Just pause it, practice it on your own. Don't worry about trying to get it up to speed. If you feel like it, I think there's a way on YouTube that you can like slow songs down. That might be a little bit ambitious. I've done that stuff before though, where you can slow it down and play along with it. But yeah, practice it a little bit slower. Work your way up to the tempo in the song, especially for like that chorus fill. And we'll go into more detail about how that works, and maybe how we can visualize that on paper, I think, in the next video. All right, so until then, I hope you stay safe and are well and keep on practicing, and we'll see you next time.